Not bad, not bad. How you doing, folks? Mike 87. Oh, Mike 87 here. It's an interesting day today. Interesting day. I wasn't gonna make a video, but I decided I would because something happened just now. Something interesting. Ugh. Oh goodness. Oh, that's not good. You see that? Do you see that? Do you see that? I wouldn't like that when I parked this morning, so I'm going to have to put that protector thing. I don't want the bike to go over, you know what I mean? Shit. From now on, I'm putting that protector thing down. Holy smokes. I guess that must have been mine too, that other one right there. Oh, nuts. Alright. So, I don't know if you know this about me, but I teach English as a foreign language, or as a second language. It's called English as a second language. Our program is called English as a foreign language for an administrative reason that I won't get into now. Anyway, I teach the foreigners. And, turn this radio down. I teach the foreigners, and a lot of them come from countries where terrible things are happening, and that's why they're here, because they're refugees. So I got an Iraqi guy, young, handsome Iraqi guy, in the office today, and I've known him for a while now. So we're talking about the situation with his mom, she's studying here too, and they got his dad's still in Iraq, in Najaf, and his sister. Did you see that? That was terrible what just happened there. I almost killed a biker right in front of my face. Holy smokes. Hang on a second, folks. I got somebody trying to kill me here. Anyway, here's what I was getting at. So this kid's dad is still in Iraq with shrapnel in his back from the first Gulf War back in '91. He told us about how he had to wave Saddam Hussein flags, and how if there was a speech on TV, all 4 hours of the speech, everywhere you went, you had to watch it, the whole thing, and if you didn't, they would kill you. And he's a Shia, and they kill you just for being Shia in that country, because Sunnis hate Shias in the Islamic world, kind of like Catholics and Protestants, I guess, in Northern Ireland kind of thing. So the Shia and the Sunnis are, you know, not having a good time of it here. And he happens to be Shia, and the Sunnis are pretty much the ones that are doing all the crazy stuff these days. Anyway, I asked him, I said, look, let me ask you this. If he could go back in time and talk to President Bush, would you have advised him against invading Iraq in 2003? And I honestly had no idea what his answer was going to be. I just wanted to ask somebody who had the English ability, because he's good in English, to actually articulate his viewpoints. And so he said, I would tell him to invade, and I would tell him to make sure that the United States stays in Iraq longer. We got out too soon, because now it's all turned to shit again. And that was a very interesting thing. He said, if Saddam Hussein were still alive, the kid says, I would be dead now. because I'm not part of the, I'm a Shia, not a Sunni, and he'd like to kill apparently Shias. I would maybe be in the military. I would die in some useless war, kind of like the Iran-Iraq war back in the 80s, which was completely useless. So he says, back in the Saddam days, life was safe, he says. But you had no freedom, and you lived in constant fear, because if you didn't praise the great leader, then they would disappear you. Nowadays, you have freedom, but you don't have any security. Bombs blowing up and mob rule kind of thing. So, that was a very sobering realization. Watch this guy, watch this guy. Don't try to kill me, don't try to kill me. Thank you. So, that was a very interesting thing. Now, the reason I'm interested in this is because in a way it kind of heartens me. Like, you know, these thousands of Americans have died in a war to free the people of Iraq from the tyranny of Saddam Hussein. And also the weapons of mass destruction thing. Ha ha ha. And the student said to me that, you know, for the first time in his life, his school had electricity and it had air conditioning, or fans, not air conditioning, fans, and so the Americans did a lot to improve the place initially. Of course, now it's all gone back to hell. He volunteered to be a translator when the American army was, I guess, fighting in Najaf. That's one of the reasons he's here, is because he helped out the Americans, and so they offered him the green card chance or whatever, so he's here. He's got a green card, which is great, and he loves this country. But he wishes that America would have stayed longer to, you know, help, what do they call it, fertilize the seed of democracy that was planted so precipitously or whatever. And you know, it really touches me to see, all right, so American foreign policy, the result of it is standing right in front of me, and this kid owes his life to what George Bush decided to do. And I know that thousands and thousands of people are dead now because of what George Bush decided to do. But this one Iraqi guy, and I suspect a lot of these Iraqi people who are here now, of course, they're like, yeah, they're happy because it had benefited them. So of course they're going to say, yeah, in retrospect, yeah, oh, it's a good thing. And he said if he could meet President Bush, there aren't even the words to thank him, to the depth of his heart that he would like to thank him for what he did. And in a way, that's kind of heartening. In another way, though, I hate to sound heartless here, but I think that if the United States had stayed in Iraq for 20 years, 30 years, I think the moment they left, I think things would return to shit. Like the old joke goes, I think it's the bad 20 million that ruined it for the other 11. It's not the same as Japan. It's not the same as Germany. The situations there, like the Hitler thing, started only in the 30s, and then it was over by the 40s. And then the Japan thing, pretty much the same, that whole weird fascism thing. But the Saddam kind of dictatorship-y thing, that's been going on for, you know, at least since the time of Stalin, and maybe in some other form with the sheiks or whatever for even longer. So I really don't know that our presence would help if we had stayed. I really don't know. So, what do you think of that? I know I'm opening up a huge can of worms here, but it was an interesting thing that I learned from an Iraqi today. He's happy we invaded and wishes that we had stayed in full force longer to help solidify the gains of democracy. And I'm thinking, well, you know, I guess I'm happier that we went in there, and it definitely does justify the sacrifices of our people. So that makes me happy. But staying in there longer, I don't know. I think it's just, what do they say, pouring good money after bad? You can't put lipstick on a pig and expect it to be a model, you know? I know it's a really bad way of saying it, but you have a deeply troubled people with the centuries-old fight between Sunni and Shia. You got the mentality of a people that's been brutalized by a dictator for 50 years at least. You're not going to solve that in a short period of time. It's going to take a generation or more to fix that, and I don't think we had the money for that anyway. And at the end of the day, aren't the Iraqi people responsible for themselves anyway? I mean, if we overthrew the dictator and we gave them the basic tools of democracy, here, this is how you vote, this is how you educate, this is this, that, the other. If they don't make use of it in a good way and they turn into nutcases afterwards, is it our fault? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe we should have stayed longer. Maybe we shouldn't have gone at all. I have no answers for that. I really don't know. I don't know if it was a good thing to go in. I'm happy that it helped some people, and I'm glad it justified the sacrifices. It wasn't in vain kind of thing. But on the other side, how good really was it? Only history will say. So that's my little take on a big foreign policy issue. I'll talk to you folks later. I'm gonna let the doggies out. They probably peed all over the place. I'm later than I usually am, so